I'm Dale Smith for Looney Politics, and the House of Commons has decided to give itself a vaccine mandate. The Board of Internal Economy, which is the internal committee from all parties that decides how the House of Commons will run itself administratively, decided last week in a in-camera session that they would impose a vaccine mandate on the entire parliamentary precinct. So anything, the office buildings and any of the surrounding facilities that all serve Parliament will be subject to mandatory vaccination, barring medical exemptions, which are generally about 1 in 100,000. What this means is that it applies to all members of Parliament, staffers, contractors, journalists. Anyone who's going to be in the precinct will be subject to mandatory vaccination. Where this is complicated, however, is when it comes to the chamber itself. Now, certain MPs and party leaders like Yves-François Blanchet have decided that they're going to try and test this notion that the Board of Internal Economy's decision can also impact the chamber. It really shouldn't because of parliamentary privilege, but they want to test that. What should happen, however, is that when Parliament is summoned on November 22nd, as soon as the Speaker is elected, someone should move a motion that states that all MPs in the chamber also need to be subject to this vaccination mandate. Now, what that does is it means that it's Parliament, or the House of Commons in this case, imposing its own rules on the chamber itself, and that's perfectly legitimate. The Senate will have to do its own particular mandate as well, using its own internal economy committee as well as its chamber when it comes to those mandates, but they have not yet done so. The challenge will be if the Conservatives decide to make an issue of this, and they are promising to, which means they will raise it as a question of privilege, which would require the Speaker to decide whether a prima facie case of breach of privilege has occurred and then refer it to a committee. What would happen, however, is that this would get voted down by members because all of the other MPs in the House who outweigh the Conservatives have all decided that mandatory vaccination is the way to go. This has the popular support of people, and these kinds of decisions are not reviewable by courts because of parliamentary privilege, meaning Parliament is sovereign in its own jurisdiction. It makes its own rules for itself. So what needs to happen is there should be this motion that takes place as soon as Parliament is summoned. We'll see if that happens, however, because not every government likes to learn its lessons. For Looney Politics, I'm Dale Smith.